Happy holidays everyone! Today I wanted to revise a strategy presented by Zoran about 2 years ago, which successfully attempted to complete the final map of Verdant Wind in one turn, whilst also completing the side objective of killing all 10 elites that guard Nemesis. This run was completed on a completely new save file and goes without using the DLC at all. Though a fair portion of my run makes use of his previously made strategy, there are a couple of key different units which I personally wanted to use throughout the course of this run. My class paths for practically every physical unit was Fighter to Brigand to Archer to Wyvern Rider to Wyvern Lord. There was little deviation from this path, and the stats shown will represent the different growth rates at different times. As for stat boosters, I gave about 15 strength to Claude to hit the minimal requirement for this clear, alongside the fact that I thought I wouldn't be able to hit S+ bows for Beaufair, as well as about 6 dexterity on Bernadetta to increase her crit ever so slightly on one of the elites. Within the last month, I cooked about 4 green fish sautés, giving a +8 dexterity to all party members. That was definitely the stat I felt least confident in. I also didn't have the materials to make the best of Fodlan. Hilda becomes Claude's adjutant for the hit bonus, and same goes to Felix to Bernadetta, as well as Ingrid to Sedith. That being said, unlike Zoran's attempt, a lot of stat thresholds weren't met, and thus I've relied a little more heavily on crits. Whilst most of the crits were in my favour, there was 1 or 2 that required a fairly stressful roll of the dice. It's also worth mentioning that, like Zoran, I trained Marianne in riding for movement +1 and gave her the March Ring. She'll need that extra movement to be able to keep up with my team of flyers. With that out of the way, let's get this run started. Now while I don't want to copy and paste from Zoran, I wanted to point out that the opening cutscene for this area reveals its main gimmick, right, the swamp, and that's why I have a team of flyers, because it greatly hinders cavalry movement. And the swamp effect, which does damage every turn, isn't going to be relevant since we're one-turning this map.
Should not have done that. Be careful. The water is poisonous to the living.
Looks like we better not get near that swamp. Try to avoid it during the fight.
Now that that's over, let's get this run officially started. I get Raphael to be my Strider this run, because I just didn't have anyone else to use, and then I get Sedith to use Swift Strike on Blathid. My hit rate with Sedith was actually pretty low in the beginning, so I gave him the adjutant of Ingrid to boost it just a little bit.
Huh? I think they've got some sort of magical link with Nemesis.
Could the magic be protecting him?
Not sure, but we'd better take out his 10 commanders before taking him on. 9 more commanders remaining. We just killed number 10. These can't be the 10 elites, can they? Nah, not likely.
After Sedith punks out Blathid, we get Sylvain to run up and Swift Strike Daphnel. I didn't really want to use the Lance of Ruin here because once again I was lacking dexterity, so I ended up giving him a Silver Lance to do the work. Now I run Marianne up to dance him, where she just makes it. That movement +1 is coming in handy at this point in time. Following that, Sylvain goes up and does the exact same thing, this time to Regan, using the Lance of Ruin, as that was just powerful enough and he had a bit of a better hit rate. Back at home base, we get Lysithea to warp Leone up to just as far as we can in the map, right? Any sniper does the trick in this situation, but I chose Leone since we start with her in this run and she's easiest to train up. I then get her to use Hunter's Volley on Fraldarius, who has Pavis and Aegis. In this run you see me get a critical, but due to the way the chips fell, she needed him to activate Aegis 0 times to get that kill, as 1 Aegis activation would hinder her kill potential.
At the ready.
Claude gets an overkill crit on Goneril and takes the place of Daphnel. Linhardt then proceeds to warp Bernadetta as far spaces forward as he can. I used Linhardt throughout the run and I wanted him to reach a minimal magic requirement of 28, just so he could do at least a 7 range warp. Manuela then also, as a warper, proceeds to warp Byleth forward. I didn't really use Manuela as a main unit throughout the run, and more so had her as an adjutant, who just gained magic as time went by. Now we run Byleth up to Karen with a 60% crit on Killer Axe with Smash to kill. After that, we get Bernadetta to come up to Gloucester with the Inexhaustible to go for a brave kill. You can see he activates Aegis twice here, and then activates it a third time, and I got really scared at this point, but we do get the kill. Moving Bernadetta back a couple spaces, we set up the formation for Alois to come in and use Dance of the Goddess. I didn't really have a Dance of the Goddess unit, but I picked Alois anyway because he could easily promote into Grappler, which has 6 movement.
Much obliged.
From here we get Bernadetta to come up and use Deadeye on Dominic. This is one of the crits that I was a little bit scared about since it was only a 39 crit chance. But it wasn't too unattainable. He gets a pretty decent level up, and Felix gets a level up as well. But that isn't too important. Now it's time for Claude to tackle the most oppressive threshold in this map, Lamine, the Gremry, at the north end. Not only is she immune to crits, but also has Pavis and Aegis, making her very hard to kill. So much so that I just have to have enough raw strength to get the kill. I have Claude attacking from 4 range, which greatly decreases his accuracy. But he ends up getting the kill, and moves back 1 space. While he doesn't need his 14 movement to reach Lamine with his Wingott art, Marianne requires him to move back 1 space so that he's in range for her to dance him. We then get Barth to go to town on Gautier with the Brave Axe, which takes him out pretty quickly, and by then we've broken the link between Nemesis and the elites. We then get Marianne to come up and dance Claude. You'll actually notice that there's a change in the music going through Marianne's dance animation, and that's because after the dance, I actually failed to kill Nemesis with a crit 3 different times, so this is just the one where it actually worked. Now we come down to the final step, officially. Claude needs to crit Nemesis. Now before I pull the trigger, there's a thing I want to make note of. My Claude had a far lower dexterity than Zoran's, which means my crit chance was also a fair bit lower. Now because I overcompensated strength because I didn't think I'd get both there, I actually had enough strength with the Killer Bow and Monster Blast to get the kill, which is what I ended up doing. And with that said, this run is complete. Thank you to Zoran for his strategy, and I hope you have a good holidays everyone. Till next time.
More battles means more strength.